2011 Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're talking to Josh Lee of JDA Customs. Josh, take a moment and tell me about your background, please, sir.
Well, 1995, me and my father started a business called JDA Aqua Cutting. JDA Aqua Cutting started off as a manufacturing facility utilizing technology of water jet machining. 2000, we went full-blown into the sport bike custom parts and accessories manufacturing. Now we incorporate water jet cutting, manufacturing by CNC machining centers, CNC turning centers, polish in-house, and along with all of our products, we probably categorize about 43,000 line items of different items with all their options. Basically, with our love and passion of motorcycles, primarily the sport bikes, we started doing custom builds more and more as our name got out, started becoming more popular, and utilizing all of our technologies and capabilities at the shop, we could virtually do anything needed to be done to a motorcycle.
Let's start from the beginning on this bike. What were you trying to accomplish with this build?
Well, about a year and a half ago, I started off with just a bare frame, a motor sitting on the side of the shop, and a bunch of boxes of parts. I actually used to have a race team, and one of our bikes went down, couldn't rectify the bike, so we tore all the plastics off of the Suzuki, made them fit onto this 94 frame, actually took a Swingarm from a Suzuki, modified the frame, allowing us to go from a 150 stock tire for the 1994 FZR. Now we incorporate a 180. I designed the wheels to have the Yamaha tuning fork to let everybody know this is a Yamaha. Stretched out the swing arm, 6 inches. Basic build, I just wanted to keep it simple, keep a nice retro Yamaha theme, and especially with a couple years ago, Yamaha came back with that throwback paint job, so we kind of flip-flopped it around a little bit and still incorporate the same paint, different color scheme.
Let's start with the fabrication. You started with a bare frame and just modified everything to fit, correct?
You are correct. We actually had to do a lot of body modifications just to get a swing arm in that will accommodate the fatter tire. Along the sections in the frame, because it is a 1994 frame, it was a steel frame which had all kinds of ugly pockets for strengthening. We did a lot of body work to fill that, make it look like a more updated aluminum frame. Even around through here, all the weldments are all filled, backfilled, and from there, now it looks like a modern build. We did modifications on the front end. We're not running a traditional top clamp with the clip-ons. I actually made a top clamp with handlebar risers, running drag bars on it. Went with aftermarket gauges for the race theme. The engine cavity, because it is a separate shell from the gas tank, we actually pulled the airbox off. We're running a stage 3 jet kit through the system, so I painted some of the tops on the carburetors, removed the airbox, running K&N filters, and I incorporated a clear panel so I could look into the motor.
What modifications do you have on the motor?
Well, primarily right now we're just running a stage 3 and in the carburetor, which allows more fuel to come through, allows more air. Have a modified radiator to it. Because of the body work, we couldn't fit the traditional radiator, so our cooling system is completely unique on this. As far as other modifications, we're still working on it as far as air shifting, nitrous, and other similar performance items.
Let's talk about the front end. What have you done on the front end?
Well, front end, we have our Yamaha tuning fork wheel. I made a custom sprocket or rotor that will allow us to bolt on. Modified, went from the 2 to the 1. We're running Galfer brake lines. Galfer helps us out with a lot of our projects, so I'm running a yellow braided brake line. Besides that, the forks are stock. The front end is lowered about 3 inches. And that's pretty much it for the front end.
Let's look at the back end. Now obviously we've got an extended swing arm on there, and you've widened that out. What else have you done besides the tuning fork, tires, wheels?
We took a GSXR swing arm, modified the frame to accommodate the swing arm, stretched it out with some of our swing arm extensions, welded them in, backfilled everything so it all looks like one solid piece. And with this swing arm, it allowed us to bump up to the 180 tire. We have a couple different unique pieces bolted onto the arm, signifying our logo, just showing different color accent to the bike. On the opposite side of the bike, we have a chain guard, in which we named this bike Christine from the old movie with the 56 Plymouth, because once we started building this bike, it tried to tear us all apart at the shop, between plastics falling during paint and just all the time it took. It was almost virtually a nightmare to do this simple build. It took a long time to do. And the suspension on the rear is from a 2007 Yamaha R6, which is a definite upgrade from the stock shock that the natural FZR had.
What was your approach on paint?
Well, basically when our customers come into the shop, I try to tell them keep it as simple as possible, in which I have other bikes here that aren't so simple, but I love simple paint jobs, and this was the classy retro Yamaha look, and it just, I do believe, went perfect with the build.
What companies were instrumental in getting your bike finished?
Well, Hot Bodies donated the windscreen, and you really can't see it too much because we did mold the windscreen and it's all one solid piece. So I got to give them thanks. Gelfer helped us out with all the brake lines. Basically, JDA Custom founded this whole build. The race plastics are from Cheetah. That would be the front tail and the front cowling, in which all were modified. The front or the rear tail is all one solid piece that wraps around the whole tail. So we did a lot of work molding all that in. Also, JP Customs does all of our paint, so I definitely got to give him thanks. And he is pretty much instrumental to a lot of our builds. This bike I gave to Joe 2 days before it had to go into the trailer, and he knocked it out. Mark's Custom Auto Interiors supplies us with all of our seats. This particular seat here is Stingray, and there again, without basically JP Customs, my shop JDA Custom, and Mark's Custom Auto Interiors, we could not have gotten this done.
If somebody'd like to get a hold of you, do you have a website or phone number?
Yes, we do. Our website is www.jdacustom.com. Our phone number, 815-485-8028.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.